All right, good evening. You're welcome to grade 12 WASSCE revision series. We've been able to solve from, in the 2 days so far we've worked, we've looked at from question 1 to question 10. So today we'll be looking at question 11. We'll be looking at from question 11 of WASSCE 2019. Like I said in my 2 previous videos, the questions now are subjective in nature. So you really will not need to do too much work, but you also need to think very quickly. And to help me with this arrangement, I've made it as a matter of integrity not to look at the questions. So any difficulty I face as I solve here will be a product of the fact that I'm also doing thinking just like you're thinking in examination hall. So let's get down to work. All right, so we go to question 11. In question 11, it says the third and the sixth term of a GP are 1/4 and 1/32 respectively. Find the first term and the common ratio. So straight away, we know that T is what we use to denote GP. So that will be T3, and that will be AR to the power of what? AR to the power of 2. And that will be equal to what? 1/4. Now T6 will be equal to AR raised to the power of 5. And that will be equal to what? 1/32. So what does this give you? It means that we can now say T6 over T3 will be equal to AR5 over AR2. And that will be equal to 1/32 all over 1/4. Take note of something. The denominator of a denominator is a numerator. If you have a denominator in a denominator is a numerator. Do you get it? The denominator of a numerator is a denominator. So with this understanding, this will cancel this, and applying your knowledge of indices, a to the power of r to the power of 5 minus 2, this will be equal to 4/32. And that will mean that r to the power of 3 will be equal to 1/8. So simply put, r to the power of 3 will be equal to 2 raised to the power of minus 3. How did I get that? Recall that 1/8 is the same thing as 8 to the power of minus 1, which will be 2 to the power of 3, or raised to the power of minus 1. So that will be 2 raised to the power of minus 3. Are you seeing that? So from here, r will be equal to what? 2 raised to the power of minus 1. Now somebody may begin to ask, why are you getting this answer? Very simple there again. Very simple then again. This will be what? If you don't want to go this way, you can also go this way. R to the power of 3 is equal to 1/8, meaning that R is equal to the cube root of 1/8, which will be what? 1/2. Are you seeing that? Are you seeing that? Okay. All right, so that will be 1/2. So R will be equal to what? So this will be equal to 1/2. Let me get my duster so I can clean off and continue. Right. So all right, so with that, R is equal to 1/2. R will be equal to 1/2. And that will mean that R will be equal to 1/2. And that will mean that the next part says we find the first step. So with this, we'll put R equal to 1/2 in AR raised to the power of 2. So that will give me what? Okay, equal to AR raised to the power of 2 equal to 1/4. R is 1/2, so A times 1/2 all to the power of 2 is equal to 1/4, meaning that A times 1/4 will be equal to 1/4, and A will be equal to 1. So the common ratio, rather the common The first term will be what? 1. So with that settled, they say we should find the 7th term. So 7th term will be T7, and that's AR to the power of 6. That will give you 1 times what? 1 over 2 raised to the power of what? 6. 1 over 2 raised to the power of 6, and that will give you 1 over 64. So that one will be 1 over 64 as your final answer. Now, the next question says, that's question 11A. This is 11A. Now, question 11B. Question 11B. Question 11B says, given that 2 and minus 2 are the roots of the equation, find the value of A plus B, A, B, and C. Now, there are different ways students solve this question. There are different ways students solve this question, but I will solve the way I think math students should solve this. There are different ways to solve this, but I will solve the way I think math students should solve this. So, at the roots of the equation, the equation is ax squared plus bx plus c equal to 0. That's the general quadratic equation. Now, given that 2 and negative 3 are the roots of the equation, it means that x is equal to 2 or x is equal to minus 3. So from here, x minus 2 is equal to 0 or x plus 3 is equal to 0. So with that said, x minus 2 will multiply x plus 3, and that will be equal to 0. So x will go into x plus 3, minus 2 will go into x plus 3 equal to 0. X squared plus 3x minus 2x minus 6 will be equal to 0. So it means that x squared minus x minus 6 will be equal to 0. So that's the solution for 11B. There's also another method in your book. You can use that method, no problem, but I wouldn't use that method. It's not like I don't know it, but I wouldn't use. So from this, A will be equal to 1, B will be equal to minus 1, and C will be equal to minus 6. All right, let's allow that one to settle. Question. Let's go to the next question now. We'll go to the next question. So we're done with question 11A, and we are now on to question 12. And it's interesting to note that the first question could take as much as 6 to 8 marks. About 6 to 8 marks for the first question. 6 to 8 marks. All right. Now, question 12A. This question 12A is my favorite kind of question in this kind of WASSCE setup. Now, let's look at that. Sine y is equal to 8 over 17. So what it means is that this is the narrative of a right angle triangle where y is 8 over 17. So you need to find here x. So using notations as in diagram, comma, by Pythagoras rule, comma, 8 squared plus x squared is equal to 17 squared, meaning that 64 plus x squared is equal to 289. So what does that mean? X squared will be equal to 289 minus 64. And that will give you 225. So x will be equal to the square root of 225, which will be equal to what? 15. All right. The next thing we need to do is to look for the tan. Tan y will be equal to opposite 8 over adjacent x. And that will be 8 over 15. The question says we should look for, so therefore, tan y over 1 plus tan y will be equal to what? 8 over 15 over 1 plus 8 over 15. What does this give you? 8 over 15 all over. Now let's simplify that. That will be 15 plus 8 over 8. Or plus 15, sorry. And these are the kind of mistakes that can happen as you try to solve very fast. So be very mindful of this kind of errors. Now, this will be 15 plus 3. So this will now give me, the denominators are the same. Remember that this is a denominator of a numerator, so it's a denominator. This is a denominator of a denominator, it's a numerator. So this will give me 8 over 23. So the answer is what? 8 over 23. This should be for about 4 marks, I think. 4 marks, I think so. Now we go to question, last question. Did I tag it? This is question 12A. And this is question. So let's go to 12B. So 12B now. In 12B, in question 12B, we are told that an amount of 300,000 was shared among Otobo, Ada, and Adiola. If you want something interesting, it's like this year they set a lot of questions regarding commercial arithmetic. So I don't know what the pattern this year will look like. It might be 2 questions on ratio and whatever. So it might be a very good question for you to, or a topic for you to revise and be very familiar with. Right? An amount of 300,000 was shared among Adiola. Otobo received 600,000. Received 5 over 12 of the remainder, while the rest went to Adiola. The questions are looking more like Cambridge type of questions now. So for questions like this, start with what you can see. Start with what you can see. 1 minute, please. All right, start with what you can see. Amount is what? 300,000. Remember that you're not. Then it says what? Otobo receives. So Otobo will be what? 30,000. I'm not right with that. Okay, 60,000. Left will be what? 300 minus what? 60,000. What I'm doing, I'm addressing the issues as they come. So that will be equal to 240,000. Are you seeing that? So that's what is left. Now we are told that Ada received 5 over 12 of the remainder. So Ada will be equal to 5 over 12 of what? 240,000. Are you seeing that? So that will be 100,000. So left at this stage now will be what? 240 minus 100. And that will be what? 140,000. I see that. See what I'm doing? I'm taking them as the issues are coming because it's more like semi-German. It's more like semi-German. You'll be given marks for doing your work well. So the next thing now, look at the thing. Now, it says you find the ratio of what? The ratio of their shares. So it will be what? Let's take Otobo. So Otobo the first. Otobo is to Ada. Is to, now this left is for Adiola. So Adiola will have that one. Is to Adiola. So that will mean 60,000 is to what? 100,000 is to what? 140,000. 4 zeros, 4 zeros, 4 zeros, 2 go here 3, 2 go here 5, 2 go here 7. So it is 3 is to 5 is to 7. And that's what the answer is. This exam is just too cheap. In fact, if I write this type, I will finish everything in less than an hour because it's too straightforward, just too terribly straightforward. All right, that's for question 12B. So let's go to question 13. Question 13. Question 13. So question 13 will be, now see the diagram you're giving. You're giving something like this. Right. This is the angle at the center. This is 68 degrees, and this is x, right? Now, you are told to look for, this is t, this is r, this is s. You are told to look for this angle theta, this is u. Remember, you are told to look for this angle. So what do we do? Now, very simple. I can get this angle here. There are different approaches to this question, but let's assume I do not know much about circle theorem. Or let's assume that my knowledge of geometry or trigonometry is so limited. How do I solve this question? I'll try to. Now, one thing you must know is this. Angle OST is equal to angle OSR, and is equal to 90 degrees. What is the reason? Radius perpendicular to tangent. That's the first thing. So if you don't know this rule, you may not be able to solve this. That's the first thing. The next important rule you need to take note of is that 2 times angle TUS will be equal to angle TOS. What is the reason? Angle at center equal to 2 times angle at circumference or circum. So what that means is that 2 times 68 will be equal to angle TOS, meaning that angle TOS is equal to 136 degrees. All right. Now you have done that. The next one is this. Now look at this. I've already started in this manner. If there's another way I usually solve that would have been easy. So look at this. Angle TROS plus angle ROSO plus angle OTR plus angle TOS is equal to 360 degrees. Angle sum of quad. How do you know this is a quadrilateral? There's another way you can solve this, but I don't want to waste my time. That's the beautiful thing about this area of maths. There are different ways you can solve. Different ways. Now, look at this. TRS. TRS is x plus 90 plus 90 plus 136. So that will be x plus 180 equal to 360. Yes. Plus 136 equal to 360. Meaning x plus 316 equal to 360. And x equal to 360 minus 360. That will give you 44 degrees. So that will be 44 degrees. X is now what? Essentially what? 44 degrees. And that is for 30A. All right, that's just for 30A. And this question cannot be more than 4 marks. My money, I place my money 4 marks, so it can't be more than 4 marks. From what I've seen, maybe 4 or it can't be up to 6 marks. I doubt that. Okay, maybe might be 6 marks. This will be 1 mark, 1 mark. Method 1. Okay, maybe up to 6 marks. All right, so that settles this aspect of question 13A, so we'll go to 13B. So you see that it's possible for you to finish. It's possible to finish if that is your dream. And if your dream is to finish the exam, you can see that it is very possible. So 13B, 2 tanks A and B are filled to capacity with diesel. Tank A holds 600 liters of diesel, more than tank B. If 100 liters of diesel are poured out of each tank, tank A will then contain 3 times as much diesel as tank B. Find the capacity of the tank. Essentially, this question is testing your knowledge of simultaneous equations. So let's take it one step at a time. All right, 2 tanks are filled to capacity. Tank A holds 600 liters of water, more than tank B. So let tank A be X, tank B be what? Y. Or you can say let it be A, small letter A, and let this be small letter B, as is seen in your marking scheme. Like I told you before, I've not looked at these questions in a long time. I'm just solving them in a real exam environment. All right, so we look at that. It said tank A holds 600 liters of diesel, more than tank B. It means that tank A is bigger than tank B. So tank A will be equal to B plus what? 600. So creating a simultaneous equation scenario will mean that A minus B will be equal to 600. And don't ask me put equation 1, equation 2. I don't work with that ministry anymore. I've upgraded more than that. All right. The next one says that if 100 liters of diesel is poured out of each of the tanks, so A will remove 100, equal to B will remove 100, what will happen? It says that tank A will contain 3 times more diesel than B. So that will be 3 times this value. So this is what you now do. This will now be A minus 100 equal to 3B minus 300. If I got the narrative right, meaning that A minus 3B will be equal to minus 300 plus what? 100. I hope I got that narrative right. Good. So meaning that what? A minus 3B will be equal to minus 200. Okay, from this point, I will now create my simultaneous equations. I will do what? Create my simultaneous equations. So from here, A minus B is equal to 100, 600. A minus 3B is equal to what? Minus 200. Please, I hear some people say they will now use substitution. Please, I want to beg you, in this kind of question, your best bet is to use elimination. You are faster with elimination than with substitution. With this one, I'll have that if I subtract, this will be 2B equal to 800 and B will be equal to 400. If I got that right. Now, at this point, put B equal to 400 in A minus B equal to 600. Means that A minus 400 will be equal to 600 and A will be equal to what? 600 plus 400. What does that give you? 1,000 liters. So A is what? 1,000 liters and B. So I will advise you to put liters. I don't know that they're going to penalize for units. And B, right, so let's put units there. We don't know whether they are going to penalize for units. So with that, happy to announce to you that I'm done with 2019 question. I'm going to stop the video now so that I'll go into 2018 and start a fresh recording. All right.